Ever wondered what type of staple food a country like Cuba could be having? Take a look at a good example of ugali. Ugali or posho, it's also called sima, is a type of cornmeal made from maize or corn flour in several countries in Africa. Let's forget about Cuba. Sima is sometimes made from other flours such as millet, sorghum, and is sometimes mixed with cassava flour. It is cooked in boiling water or milk until it reaches a stiff or firm dough-like consistency. Ugali preparation is common in many African countries. It sometimes varies in consistency since it may contain different type of mixtures of flours. In Kenya, ugali is the name for the most common mealtime starch, a thick, stiff porridge made from white cornmeal or red millet. It is ugali, which is one of the most common dishes served with meat vegetable. It is the staple food in the region. It's found all over Africa. In fact, South Africa, they call it pap. And in Zimbabwe, they call it sadza. Regardless of its name, ugali forms the backbone of traditional Kenyan cuisine. Traditionally, ugali is made with millet. It was made with millet, a rich and nutritious grain. But when maize found its way to the African continent, Portuguese traders introduced maize to Kenyan coastal region in the 19th century. Before that, sorghum and millet were the grains of the day. However, seeing the commercial potential of maize, the British settlers undertook large-scale farming of the white variety, in particular in the White Highlands. During the British rule, the white landowners began to cultivate maize in abundance. The workers were sometimes paid in form of maize. Maize became even more popular as a grain staple meal. Kenyans usually eat white maize ugali, others eat yellow maize ugali, others still prefer to have the brown, which has millet and sorghum, and a little bit of cassava. And the yellow one, it's just adopted majorly in the Western Nyanza, and they call it nyamula. Ugali is a very simple dish of milled white maize, cooked with water until it's very stiff and pulls away from the side of a pan if cassava is added. The traditional way to eat ugali is with your hand rather than a spoon or a fork. A small lump of ugali is rolled into a bowl using one hand. A depression is made in the middle with the thumb, and it is used to scoop the stew or soup. Nowadays in restaurants, people rather use spoon and fork. However, on the roadside kibandas, the small eateries around the town, ugali is eaten using the hand. Ugali is a substitute for any sort of cutlery at traditional Kenyan tables like rice, ngwashe, that is the sweet potatoes. Ugali has really substituted all these other. Most people enjoy ugali from maize meal, but nowadays the more health conscious ones have gone back to using millet and sorghum, not forgetting cassava. Over time, mills were set up to grind the maize into flour. Ready-made maize meal flour is available also to all, being sold in supermarkets all over. In the village, ready-made flours are available, yes, but more traditional families still prefer to grind to grind maize at home. Back in the days they would use stones, but these days local milk grinders known as and in the area it's known as kisiagi, yeah, they would prefer to grind the maize by themselves and make the flour. Maize flour is not the same as cornstarch, and while salt is not added when preparing ugali, you can enjoy it with some salted butter. Yes, the consistency of ugali is that which can be molded. Yeah, when it is served on a platter, it contains its shape. However, for kids and the elderly, ugali is made in milk and cooked to a softer consistency, or maybe just water but cooked to a softer consistency. Maize meal or corn flour is also used to prepare drinkable porridge, which is called uji, also known as musarek in Kalenjin. Leftover ugali is enjoyed with stew. However, modern families like to cut the leftover ugali into chips or French fries style and deep fry them. It is enjoyed as a snack with some ketchup, of course, and tea. In 2017, ugali was added to the UNESCO representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, one of the few foods in the list.